The 3rd of February, TGIF. No, it's March. What am I thinking? I'm stuck in the wrong month. March the 3rd. I've entitled this video Hard Things. Hard Things. You know, all of us have to deal with things that are sometimes very difficult. Do you have something in your life that has been almost impossible for you to deal with? Well, God placed something in Rosette Mark in my life that was the most difficult thing that we've ever had to deal with. And I'll be very honest about it, it has not been easy. Only by the grace of God have we been able to keep going as a family. Many years ago, my son is getting ready to be 47 on the 8th of March. When he was 17, Rosette and I were teaching school. Both of us were teaching school at the time. And we both taught at the same school. And we came home one night. Mark had been working at a Burger King part-time. And he had gotten off work. He came home. I don't know how he got home, honestly. I don't know how he drove his car, but he got home and he was totally out of it. He didn't know where he was. He didn't know who he was. His mind was totally not functioning. I rushed him to the hospital, and his brain was kicking out massive amounts of dopamine. They put him on an inhibitor drug to slow down the dopamine. And he was diagnosed with a brain degenerative disease. And he's been with us ever since. He's now 47, going on 47 years old. And the things that we've had to go through with Mark have been almost insurmountable. I'm not going to go into all the details. God knows what Mark has had to go through and what Rosette and I have had to go through. He knows. There's no way anyone would know what we had to go through had they not have lived with us. But, you know, God has been faithful. I emailed a friend of mine this morning because he had brought up Mark's situation, and I said, you know, I said if it hadn't been for God placing his faith in all of us, we could not have continued as a family. You know, we couldn't have continued. You know, and we're not alone. We all have to go through certain things that seem almost insurmountable to us. Some people it's cancer, terminal cancer. Some people it's a stroke. Some people it's leukemia. Some people it's all kinds of things people have to go through. And, you know, we have to realize that we're not alone in our heartache and in our trials. Many people have had to go through insurmountable things. Quiet, Lord, my froward heart, make me teachable and mild, upright, simple, free from art. Make me as a weaned child, from distrust and envy free, pleased with all that pleases thee. What thou shalt today provide, let me as a child receive. What tomorrow may be tide, calmly to thy wisdom leave. Calmly to thy wisdom leave, 'tis enough that thou wilt care, why should I the burden bear? As a little child relies on a care beyond his own, No, he's neither strong nor wise, fears to stir a step alone. Let me thus with thee abide, as my Father guard and guide. Thus preserve us from Satan's wiles, safe from dangers, free from fears. May I live upon thy smiles, till thy promised hour appears, when the sons of God shall prove all their Father's boundless love. Well, Rosette and I have often thought that, we try to figure things out. That's human nature. And we both believe that God ordained this happen in Mark's life to keep him from all of the evils in the world, and to leave him with us so that he could hear the scriptures every day and be ingrained in the gospel. He didn't get out into the world and get involved in all of this garbage going on in our society. God has a way of protecting his own. And welcome Rajit Biswas from Bangladesh this morning. You are in our prayers. I get a lot of requests for support, financial support, and we are not rich people. We struggle from month to month to pay our bills like everybody else, and we're not a bank. So for all of you people that are asking us to send money, I'm sorry, we don't. I wish I had coffers deep that I could just open up and just send you all money as you request, but I'm not in that. God has not placed me in that situation. It's been a financial struggle most of our lives, especially with Mark's condition. It's been a real trial, and so I hope you all understand that. Anyway, we all have to go through certain things that we don't enjoy. I can't say I've enjoyed going through this with Mark. It's been the hardest thing that we have each of us, Mark, Rosette, and I, have ever had to go through in our lives. And it's not something that, unless by the grace of God, it's not anything that's just going to go away. It looks like we're going to have to live with it the rest of our lives. We're now making long-range plans for what's going to happen to Mark after we're gone. Because at 69 years old, I figured out that this life is not sustainable. I'm not going to live forever. All of my family on my side, my mom and my dad and my aunts and my uncle, two of my uncles, are already gone, and not just anybody's going to take Mark in and care for him, and so that's a natural concern for us. He'll probably have to be in some type of a group facility that will look after his needs, and so you all remember us in prayer as we plan this last chapter of our lives, and we plan for Mark's. God has all things in his hands, and God knows Mark's future. God ordained Mark's future, just like he's ordained today what goes on in our lives. There's a lesson for us here. We all have things that we have to contend with, do we not? That are not easy for us. And I'm just using this particular experience we've gone through to encourage all those that are going through and dealing with hard things in your life. God will give us the strength. In Him we live and move and have our being. And He's in charge even of the bounds of our habitation, and that includes Mark's habitation. You know. So be encouraged and realize that, you know, these things were all ordained of God for our for God's glory and for our learning. May the good Lord be with you today in a special way is my prayer. God bless.